Mitromandu Bandhuvam, welcome to South Asia Maps. This is Education Channel. This is your presenter, Dr. J. Reddy, J. Tirupati Reddy. Mitrona, I have opened a new series or a playlist called Rice Grains on Chessboard. The similar to wheat grains are on the chessboard. This is essentially about talking the implications of exponential growth in a finite environment. That is, exponential growth is simply a compounding. In this, the first part will be exploring about the bacterial growth. We have a bacteria here in a laboratory growing in a finite environment or a finite habitat with finite resources. What are the implications of this and what is happening this? In this series, this is the overall, I made around about 20 plus or so in the initial phase. We are covering today about the exponential bacterial growth in a finite environment. And we'll talk about this. The initial phase is mostly about the introductory part. If you Google like bacteria, chess and wheat like that, you will get some videos. But I have taken a lot of time and made big presentations with my understanding of agriculture and so on, and that will give you a deeper understanding of the issue of exponential growth, compounding growth, something growing at a rate, what happens intuitively. And most of my presentations I have posted at my YouTube channel called South Asia Maps J. Reddy. You can see here this video is recorded the post-Pongal or Sankranti time in February 2025. We have around about 750 or so. I have partitioned them into 70 or so playlists. You can pick and choose the topic of our interest on human ecology, Indology, history, culture, and global issues. This is your presenter, Dr. J. Reddy, and at this intellectual channel, I try to share my 4.5 decades of passion and interest on natural resources, agriculture, Indology, Bharat Mata related studies, in addition to my standard livelihood related work on bioinformatics, biotechnology, and agriculture. So, this is the bacterial growth in a finite environment. The exponential growth, you see a chessboard here, and the issue with this exponential growth is humans lack intuitiveness to grasp the implications of exponential growth. That is nothing but compounding, like consumption of oil, coal, iron, urban growth, fiat money creation, and economic growth, GDP growth. All these broadly come under exponential growth, something growing at a smaller phase. Professor Al Bartlett calls that the greatest shortcoming of human race is their inability to understand exponential growth. Human intuitiveness is poor in grasping the exponential growth, that is the compounding or compound interest. Here we have a bacteria, we have a flask, we have a bacteria, and bacteria in a laboratory like a small standard E. coli, Escherichia coli has a life cycle of 30 minutes or so, but here we are taking a small bacteria that multiplies, doubles at a very minute or so. We start at 11 o'clock in the late evenings and add bacteria here. By 12 o'clock, this flask is completely full. That means the bacteria grows, 1 becomes 2, 2 becomes 4, 4 becomes 8, and so on. That means There is a finite environment here, the finite habitat, the flask resources with appropriate nutrients. We start, there is plenty of nutrients and habitat is rich. By 12 o'clock, it is full. That means 1 hour. 1 hour in the bacterial time is very, very big. You may think 1 hour is small, but think about the bacteria. What happens when the bacteria realizes at 11:59 minutes in the next minute is going to be very full, and they panic and they go and search and dig everywhere. Let's say they find three more or four more, the flasks are rich in nutrients. What happens now? 12:01, these two flasks will be full. Next 2 minutes, this entire four flasks will be full. Imagine the bacteria found 8 flasks, 8 new environments, 8 new, let's say the bacteria lives here is a planet Earth. When they started 11 o'clock, they thought they have only one planet Earth or a flask, and they enjoyed the resources and they grow. Now they're full at this 12 o'clock in the midnight. They found eight planet Earths, and they're very happy. They found they have plenty of resources they found. But what happens? Let's see. You have at 12 o'clock this bacteria. After 1 minute later, this is full to after 2 minutes later, the four are filled. After 3 minutes, eight are filled. The bacteria thought when they begin their life at 11 o'clock, they lived a long span of time, immense amount of resources, 1 hour. But even though now there are 8 flasks now with rich of nutrients, habitats, or planet Earth, their life was cut short by only 3 minutes. What is actually happening here? That means anything that is growing in a finite habitat, finite environment, that is called exponential growth, increasing at a short rate, compounding in a finite environment, such as the planet Earth, the entire is a finite environment, humans growing, or a flask where yeast or bacteria growing. That means the bacteria, imagine the bacteria are very intelligent here like humans, but they lack the intuitiveness. The intuitiveness is very poor in bacteria to grasp the implications of their population increasing or population doubling. So the same thing happens. So when you talk instead of the bacteria, humans multiplying on a planet Earth. Or if you take a oil, this entire oil is resource, is the entire thing is a coal, and consuming the coal, consuming the iron, aluminium, or oil are the similar thing. The resource consumption will be very, very rapid after certain stages. Same as populating the people in the urban areas, small cities, medium cities, big cities. Cities like New York City or Tokyo has 30 million people, or New York has 20 million people, and even Hyderabad, Delhi, and Indraprastha and Bombay has more than 10 million people or so, putting them the urban growth, building the roads, the railway network, the fiat money creation process, and economic growth, GDP growth. All these are the exponential growth. That means they are growing at a certain phase. The problem is we'll be lacking the intuitiveness of this exponential growth. What is the intuitiveness? Means a common sense. Intuitiveness means you can really understand without being told by somebody else, apprehend very directly. The natural understanding, or you need not be taught by somebody, or casually, unreflectingly, or instinctively. Take, for example, you have instead of bacteria, you're putting 1 grain, 2 grain of rice or wheat. We have 64 slots here or squares here. By 54th, you will have enough rice grains that has to be harvested in one global harvest. 2024, we harvested around about 532 million tons. If you're moving from 54 to 64, the last square on the chessboard, you have to produce the rice grains around about 600, 700 years of the global harvest. This is, we lack that intuitiveness. We think generally, if you start putting the grains 1, 2, 4, 8 like that, we can put 1 or 2 bags of rice that has enough grains, but that is not the case. So that is why it is very important to understand this. Professor Bartlett is well known for this. Professor Bartlett here, and he was the professor at the University of Colorado Boulder near Rockies in the United States, and he has given extensive lectures on that, and his one of the favorite topic is the exponential growth. Same like a wheat and a chessboard problem that we'll be exploring further. What happens when you reach the 64th square? So by 64th square, we'll have a 18 followed by 18 zeros, that is called hexa, or that is called quintillion. 18 followed by 18 zeros is very easy to understand. That many grains you need to put on the entire board at that time. Half of it will be 9 followed by 18 zeros in that particular 64th square itself. That means by the time the chessboard, you have to harvest the grains round about 675 years or so, the global harvest of the rice grains. That is the concept of a bacterial growth in a finite environment, or compounding, or exponential growth. That means something growing at a constant rate. Even the constant rate can be 0.1%, 0.2%, 1%, 5%, 10%, like a standard money interest rate in the bank. Still, that is a constant rate. So that is the implication of bacterial growth in a finite environment. Next part, we will see will expand further the bacterial growth, what happens in the last few minutes. That is the where the issue escalates, and humans lack the intuitiveness to understand what is happening in the final minutes. We'll explore that further in the next presentation. Thank you, Mitronam. Joining me today, this is your presenter, Dr. J. Reddy at South Asia Maps Education Channel, Intellectual Kshatriya's channel. And if you like the presentations, you can put your comments, or you can bring it to the notice of your friends. See you there in the next presentation, J. Tirupati Reddy, South Asia Maps. Dhanyavadalu.